functional flow for today, and we're going to be working a little bit on our hips. So just a short hip routine / flow to help us work on all those ranges of motion of the hips. So flexion, extension, a little bit of internal rotation, a little bit of external rotation too. Really getting us to work on all of that range of motion that sometimes we might not get to work on sort of in our day-to-day lives. So we're going to start lying down today. So you're not going to need any equipment, just a mat, something comfy to wear, and a little bit of space, and that is all we need. So let's go and take a lie down. We're going to start with the soles of the feet together and the knees just sort of hanging out, I suppose we could say. So just let those knees soften down towards the floor. And if you've got really tight hip flexors, then we might want to take the feet a little bit further towards the bottom of the mat. Or if we want a little bit more of a stretch, then we take the heels more in towards the groin. So just start to tune into where your body is already. Choose the space that you want to be in. Maybe turn those palms up to face the ceiling. Soften the shoulders down towards the mat. And just begin to take some deep breaths in and out of the nose. Maybe the eyes close or the gaze softens. And I just invite you to send that breath through the belly, into the ribs, as always, starting with our diaphragmatic breath. Remembering that our breathing pattern is the basis to all of our other movement patterns. So we always want to do a little bit of focus on that before starting the more physical work. If you want a little bit of feedback, maybe the hands come around the ribs. As we feel the breath travel in and soften out. We might want to visualize that breath coming towards the hips, just allowing some more space, allowing that soft opening, that little bit of release. Just for 3 more breaths. Last one, big breath in, holding at the top, filling the body with that air from the inhale. Open the mouth, big release out of the mouth. Good, we're going to start to bring those knees to center nice and gently. And then hug them in towards the chest, give them a little squeeze. Arms and legs softly up towards the ceiling, and just give yourself some freedom here. Freedom in the joints, just giving the arms and the legs a little bit of what they want. A little bit of side to side. Going in all the different directions, maybe getting the wrists, the ankles involved. Lovely, lovely. Okay, extending that left leg out on the mat. And just going to scooch up a little bit. And then right leg comes towards the ceiling. Now if you've got super tight hamstrings, that right leg might be a little bit more down here, might have a little bend in the knee, that's okay. We're just going to start with these leg lowers. So taking that right leg down towards the floor, hovering the heel of the floor. And then with control, nice and slow, bringing that right leg back up. Just to as much as your body has space for today, especially at the start of the practice. Connecting our breath, inhale as we lower that right leg, keep the hips stable, that lumbar spine stable. Exhale as we lift back up. Inhale to lower. Exhale to lift. Keep a little flex on the foot, inhale to lower. Exhale to lift. Let's go one more time, inhale to lower. Exhale to lift, good, not using the hands, just keep that right leg lifted, using that strength here, the strength of the hamstring, the strength of the hips, getting the core a little bit involved as well, and just begin to flex and point that right foot. Just getting a nerves here, what we call nerve flossing. Nice work. Okay, taking it into a slightly more passive stretch, just briefly clasping behind the hamstring, or we can use a strap over the top of the foot and just starting to find that stretch in the right hamstring. Maybe the hands move up if you are super flexible in the hamstrings. We just don't want to be overzealous here. We're just easing ourselves in. You might even want to give the hamstring a little bit of a rub, the calf a little bit of a rub, give yourself some sensory stimulation. Nice, and then bending that right knee, bringing it in towards the chest, big squeeze of that hip. Keeping the left leg extended on the floor, just pop the right hand on top of the right knee and give that right knee some circles around. So just allowing this hip to move around its ball and socket joint. To start to get that synovial fluid flowing opposite way. So it's almost like we are oiling our joints out here. And if you are not used to doing this kind of work, then that might take a little bit longer than maybe we expect, or maybe compared to people that do this every day, but that's okay. Just be in your own space here. Go at your own pace. Good, bringing that right knee into the chest, bending the left knee, planting the foot on the floor, taking the right ankle just on the left thigh, flexing that right foot. This might be enough for you for a hip stretch, or we might begin to lift the left foot off the floor, bringing the knees in towards the chest, and tapping the toes back down. So as you lift that left foot, the lumbar spine, that lower arch, presses into the mat, and tapping back down. Let's do 3 more. So this is our active supine pigeon. 2 more. Much more functional than just practicing our passive, but we will do our passive too, just because it feels nice. Okay, option here to either stay with that left foot on the floor, or thread the right arm through in between the gap in the middle of the legs, and either clasp behind the hamstring, or if we've got a little bit more space in front of the shin, and try your best here, and I know it can be quite hard, to just let the shoulders and the head relax onto the mat. Breathe in here, nice and easy, for 3, 2, and 1. Lovely job, let that release. Gently ease out. I'm just going to switch and sway the knees from side to side. Okay, opposite side, extend that right leg out on the mat. Left leg up towards the ceiling, little flex on the foot. Press that lumbar spine down into the mat as we take the left leg, hover the heel above the floor, and bring it back up. So as we inhale, we lower, exhale to lift. Good, notice any differences between the 2 sides. Try and keep everything stable in the center. Notice if you are maybe tipping to one side. Let's go 3 more. Connect that breath. Nice. Try not to use momentum here. Last one. Bring it up to center. Hold, hold, hold here. It doesn't look hard, but if we stay here for a while, it does start to become really, really tricky. Or maybe it's tricky already. I know it is. I know it is for me. That leg might be shaking a little bit. That's okay. And then just begin to flex and point the ankle. Nice, bringing it more into that passive stretch, clasping, finding your edge, just letting everything else release, the shoulders, the chest, the jaw, the forehead. Nice work. Gently bending that left knee, squeezing it into the chest, just bringing some compression in here. And then left palm to left knee, we're going to give some circles, trying to keep that right hip pressed down in towards the mat. And taking it the opposite way. Good. Okay, bending this right knee this time, planting the foot on the floor. Outside of the left ankle comes to the right thigh. Press that left knee away without using the hands. So again, using the strength of the hips. And again, feel free to stay here, or we can start with those toe taps, lifting the right foot off the floor and tapping back down. Taking a lift and a tap. Lift and tap. 2 more times. Good, last time. And then choose where you want to be for this more passive stretch. Either threading through, maybe clasping in front of the shin. And just sending the breath into the area of the hips. Creating whatever space the body wants to give you today. Never forcing. And just saying for 3, 2, and 1. Let that release. Well done. Feet to floor. Swish and sway side to side. This should feel nice. Just resetting everything here. Good. Knees into chest. And we're going to take a rock and a roll all the way up the spine to come to seated. Okay. Everyone's favourite here, or at least it's definitely mine, and I know that a lot of the clients that I work with love these movements, these 2 movements. So if you find it really hard to sit up straight, please either lean against something or just pop a cushion underneath the bum or a block, whatever it is that you have, just to create a little bit of height, and it can help us to extend through the spine a little bit more. We don't really want to be slumping a lot when we do these 2 movements, but just check it out and see how you go. So we're going to bring this left heel in towards the groin, and if that's a little bit too hard, we can always extend the left leg out in front. It just gives us maybe a little bit more space. We're going to take the right hand to the right knee, left hand to the right sole of the foot, and we're going to give this cauldron or this pot a big stir here. So we don't want any pain in the knee, and if there is, then we make those circles a little bit shorter or a little bit smaller. Just means our pot's a little bit smaller. That's okay. Whatever space you have available. So nice circles here, no sharp edges. And use that right hand on the knee as support as well. And take it the opposite way. Try and sit up straight. I know it's hard, I just noticed myself slumping a little bit. All right, bringing that right foot in towards the chest, so the shin sort of wants to be parallel with the body, and this might be enough for us. We might want to give ourselves a little bit of a rock here, or if we've got a little bit more space, we might want to pop that sole of the foot into the elbow and give that baby a little rock from side to side. People feel this in very different places, so some it's the inner hip, some it's the outer hip, some it's the IT band, the hamstring, but it's all part of the hips. Okay, let's just stay here for 3. You can give yourself some stillness too, or you can keep with the rocking for 2 and 1. Lovely job, let that release, well done. Opposite side. Tuck that right heel in this time. Let's get that posture, sit up nice and straight. What was it that the teachers always used to do at school with the string from the top of the head? Imagine that there's a string from the top of the head. And then take that left hand to the left knee, right hand to the left sole of the foot, and we're going to give it a big stir. If you can feel clicking in the knee, I know that I can. That's okay as long as there's no pain associated with it. Let's take it the opposite way. So usually for me, this feels really, really open, because I do a lot of these quite consistently, quite a lot of the time. However, I have slacked recently. I've done quite a lot of training and not a lot of mobility work, and I can feel it. So I'm feeling that tightness, and I'm feeling when I don't do it. So I really feel you if you're feeling tight right now. Let's bring it into the body. And again, maybe you've got a little bit more space to pop it in the elbow and give that baby a little rock. Consistency really is key with our mobility training. That's when it becomes nicer and easier, although we also then want to progress, we want to add load, we don't want to sort of become stagnant with it. But we do what we can, we do the best that we can. Let's stay for 3, 2, and 1. Good job, let that release. Hands behind the back as we swish and sway the knees from side to side. This is not easy for everyone. So for some people it feels really nice, but for those that struggle with internal rotation of the hips, this movement here can feel quite tricky. So if that's the case for you, we just don't want to come quite as far, okay? All right, good. Back to center, and bring it onto our hands and knees in our tabletop. Just give yourself a little cat-cow just to reset the spine, and just because it feels nice. Good, and then whenever you're ready, start to tuck the toes, lift the hips, bringing ourselves into our downward facing dog. Feet are hips width apart, hands shoulder width apart, spreading the fingers out on the mat. So not staying here for too long, let's lift the right leg up and back. Open up that hip by bringing the heel towards the groin and giving the knee some circles here, so we're circling around that hip. Making sure we're pressing evenly into both hands, pressing out of the shoulders. We're doing 3 circles one way and 3 circles the opposite way. Good, back to center, square the hips, right leg lifts, and then we're going to step it in between the hands here. Drop that back knee, pad that back knee if you're on hard floor. And let's go ahead and give ourselves some hip rocks here. So framing the front foot either with blocks or on the floor, or if you're really tight, you can always be up here as well. You just add in a little bit of extra element of balance, I suppose, which isn't a bad thing. So starting to straighten into this right leg, and then bending back in. Adding some breath, so we exhale to straighten, inhale to bend. And you don't have to do these in quick succession. Be as slow and as mindful as you like. Nice, on that next time we straighten, let's hold it here. Either staying here or walking the fingertips off towards the right, so to about 10 past. So we just get a nice lateral flexion of the spine. Nice little side bend here. Dropping the head, breathing into that hamstring. Good, bringing it all the way back to center, bending back into the front knee, planting the hands, stepping back to plank, dropping the knees, coming all the way down into the belly. Placing the hands just a little bit wider than the mat, and then we're going to roll onto the right hip, tap the left toes, back to center, roll into the left, tap the right. Good, just moving through these 2 movements of these toe taps. So getting into the hips, into the spine, into the shoulders. Nice, coming back to center, bringing it into our cobra, hands outside the chest, squeeze the glutes as we peel the chest up. Maybe we give ourselves a little wiggle here. If this is too much, come down onto the forearms, into our sphinx. And whenever we're ready, Tuck the toes, lift the hips, move from that spine, downward facing dog. Gonna walk through the heels here, just easing into the calves, the hamstrings. Lift, lift, lift those hips towards the sky. Press into the thumb and the first finger of the hands. And don't forget to stay breathing. Left leg lifts on the inhale. Exhale, open up that hip, bring the heel towards the glutes. I'm just going to give ourselves those 3 circles. One way. Notice where you can feel this. And the opposite way, press evenly into both hands. Good, square the hips, lift the left leg, and let's step it in between the hands. We might need to give ourselves a little bit of a zhuzh. That's definitely not what you call it, I can't think of the word. Might need to give it a little bit of help to get there. I always say a little bit of a zhuzh to get there, but you know what I mean. Either keeping the hands on the floor or taking that option from before as we create our hip rocks here. As we inhale, bending into the knee, and as we exhale, straightening. So nice and fluid between these 2 movements. Good, let's just go for a couple more. Notice if any particular side feels a little bit nicer. And then hold on the straight. Bring those fingertips over towards the left. As we bring that lateral flexion in, drop the head. Just a little bit more of a dynamic posture here, a dynamic stretch, just getting more things involved in the body. So making it more effective for our time, getting more of the body involved. Coming back to centre, planting the hands. I don't know if you could just hear my knee click. Tucking the back toes, stepping back to plank. Either full plank or drop the knees forward on the toes. Bring the elbows in as we lower all the way down. Untuck the toes and bring it into our cobra here. Good, I keep having to scooch and keep making contact with the wall. Okay, if it was enough for you before, stay with those toe taps. If not, stay in cobra, little bit of a bend in the elbows. Make sure the glutes are active here to protect that lower back. Just gonna lift the left leg, tap the left toes, maybe we stay here, or press up through the hips. Sink in the hips, back to our cobra. Find that foundation again, squeeze the glutes. And then the right toes tap by the side, lift through the hips, a little mini back bend here. Back to center, back onto the belly, tuck the toes, lift the hips, downward facing dog. Walking those feet in towards the hands, we're going to bring the toes out, heels in, and sinking into our yogic squat or our malasana. Now we might be up here if the hips are super tight. We might be down here if we're a little bit more open. Maybe it feels nice to take a rock from side to side. If your hips are tight, if your back is tight, this is an exercise or a posture that we want to be doing consistently every single day while you're watching TV, while you're cleaning your teeth, while you're waiting for the microwave to heat up your dinner, whatever it might be. This is something we want to practice. Staying with these rocks or staying in stillness. And then let's add a little bit of rotation in here. So left fingertips just outside as we reach up through the right. Take a switch. And a switch. Last time. Good. Fingertips to the floor. Lift the hips. Lower into that squat. Lifting the hips. Again, if your knees are cracking here, that's okay. Last time, lift and lower. Good. Gracefully as possible, we are going to find our way onto the bum. So you're just falling back or using the hands, whatever you like. Okay, we're going to come into this 90-90 position. So the front leg is in a right angle, as if we're going to go into pigeon. The back leg is also in a right angle. Or maybe the front leg's not quite a right angle, it's more like a 45 degrees really, rather than that straight 90-degree angle, okay? So if we're doing it where the front knee, that right knee, is facing the front of the mat, and then the back sole of the foot is facing the back of the mat, okay? So we've got that nice stag leg. So options here, we can keep the hands at the chest, or for some support, we can place the fingertips behind the back as we just take it towards the opposite side. So the left knee this time is facing towards that back left corner, and swivel it back. So again, you might want to try without the hands. You'll scooch a little bit forward, that's okay. Last time. Good, so we're back towards the front here. I want you to experiment, this is where we're going to experiment a little bit with our internal rotation. So pressing the inside of the left knee down into the mat. Try it sat up straight for now, but you might get cramp. So we might want to fold over this front knee a little bit more as we press that inner knee of the back knee in and start to lift and lower that back shin, okay? So we are really using the strength of the hip here. And to give yourself a little bit of a challenge, maybe we sit up a little bit more, but just please be careful of cramp. Good, and then can we hold it up, flex that back foot, and we are staying for 5. Use the glutes to help. Strong glutes are the key to happy functional hips for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let that release, well done. And then I invite you just to have an explore with folding over this front leg. So might feel nice to go a bit to the left or to go more towards the right. I just want you to find what works for you. Maybe the forearms come down, and we just want to sort of find a little pigeon leg. If you want to straighten that back leg to make it a little bit more intense and really find our full pigeon, please feel free. But I just invite you to explore your space here. We don't have to go into any stillness, we can keep moving, find what feels good for the body. Good, last few seconds. Beautiful, coming all the way up. We're going to take a switch over to the opposite side. So take those knees over. Nice, maybe we try it sat up, just for the time being, but pin that back inner knee in. This one's so much harder for me as we lift and lower that left shin. Keep the the right shin. Keep the back foot flexed. Good. Just another couple of reps. All right, we ready? Let's hold. Lifting that shin, flexing the foot, using the glute. 4, 3, 2, 1. Back to center. And then again, just have a little explore around this front hip. We might want to get the spine involved. Maybe it feels nicer to be in a different position on this side than the other. So a lot of yoga, which I have mentioned many times before, is about self study. So it's about being aware of our own sensations, about tuning into our own bodies, and then empowering ourselves by choosing the options that feel right for us. I never want to be the kind of teacher that says you have to do this in order to feel this, or you should feel this here, you should feel this here. It's much more productive, much more helpful, much more functional for you to notice yourself where these sensations arise for you, because every single body is different. Just having another couple of seconds here. Good, and then bringing it back to center. Heels in towards the floor, just swishing and swaying side to side. Okay, last one, bringing the soles of the feet together, just letting those knees open, just like in our Supta Baddha Konasana that we did at the beginning with our lying down. Soles of the feet together, and just give the feet a little bit of a massage here. How much do the feet do for you every single day? Just give them a little bit of love here. And then clasping the hands together, just popping them underneath the feet. Either staying here, that might be enough for you, or beginning to fold forward. Maybe the elbows come in front of the shin, heart forward, hips back. Breathing deeply into this hip stretch, this butterfly. And gently easing up. Good, finishing off with a twist, just resetting the spine. Left leg extends out, right sole of the foot on the outside of the knee, hugging that knee into the chest. Or bringing that elbow outside of the knee. Sitting up nice and straight, trying to work to a stack of the shoulders. Letting that release, counter twist towards the left. And taking it the opposite direction. Right leg extends, left sole of the foot on the outside, hug that knee into the chest. Or take a hook. Keep breathing. If you lose your breath, ease out slightly. And release, counter twist towards the right. Good, hug the knees in towards the chest. Give yourself a rock on the spine, just giving yourself a fun massage here. And then coming all the way back to center. If you want to take a Shavasana, please feel free. If not, let's finish together with a final breath. So taking a big inhale through the nose. Big release through the mouth. Sealing our practice today. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope those hips are feeling a little bit happier, a little bit looser, and I will see you next time. Bye.